Like, since we're on the topic, at the end, if everybody looks, we have a retardondo, I'm just going to do standard lead 2-2. And for the last bar before fermata, I'm going to cut to 4-4. And then fermata will all be happy because I know it sounded really good. I got alto sax, right, and cornet. Alright, that's all I need. Let's give it a shot. Starting at the allegro section. Quick. Watch me. 3, 4. Alright. First off, I heard a little flute weirdness right when we switched to the 2-2. So let's check that. I don't think we need to rehearse. But back at the beginning of this section, there's a lot of woodwind brass interplay, right? It's almost trading F. There's a constant eighth note, generally, but it's being traded off. So can we just rehearse? Can I hear the woodwinds first? And that part we're going to go, let's go to B, and then we'll do the same thing with the brass. So be ready. Brass, listen to the woodwinds part as we're playing it, and look how it lines up with yours. So, at the allegro section. Woodwinds do the same. Listen, see how it lines up with your part. You can all see it because y'all have scores, but listen to the brass. See how it fits in. Ready? So we're going to have a dead bar. Those two? 1, 2, ready, go. One more time. 2, 3. A little better, could use a little more work though, so check the notes on your own time. Great. We got that. Moving on past that, I didn't show it. At V, I want a nice forte piano. Who on me for not showing it very well, but let's try that. We're going to go everybody now. I just want a nice dynamic difference. So let's go B. Let's stop at the 2 after the 2-4, okay? Sorry. 3, 4. I was kind of worried because his xylophone wouldn't be there, but did y'all hear that pulse when we were playing the first time? You laid it down very nice for you. Just use that to drive because, as y'all see, this section is just ba, 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 and your metronome's right back there ticking away for you. Yeah, can we just start at B and go to the end again? Get a nice healthy run in. Starting at B.
performance ready?
There's a few spots.
Let's see it.
Let's see it. All right.
Correct it.
Can I hear the chords at let's see. Right after the 2-4, we have a bar 4-4, and then a new phrase begins. Can we just start there, brass, and then we'll have our nice. I want to hear those G major and C chords afterwards. So we're gonna have a lot of dead space, but I just want to clear that up. Let's do it individually. So we're gonna start 7 after V, and we're just gonna keep going individually. So I'll just every note that you see. So we'll start that, just the brass. Good. Can we do, same section, just with the woodwinds. I want to hear that as short as you can, but nice. Just, I don't know. Good articulation is just what's going to drive you through this piece so you don't drag because everything's getting just weighed down because there's a lot of ink on the page. Okay, let's try that. That's, we'll just go 5 after a beat. Alright? Fun part in the world, but it's super imperative to keeping this part driving. That's what makes this, it's the end of the movement. It's got to be the most exciting part, right? So that's the imperative to helping us drive along.
All right, Matt, I'll stop you. I'll throw you a rope, but I'm going to talk about some things. Okay. Can we go back to the Allegro? Actually, I don't want to do that. I changed my mind. So I have a question. What is the metronome, Matt, 5 after V, that spot you were just rehearsing?
5 after V?
Yep.
What is the metronome with Blake?
Just Blake?
Well, just Blake and the woodwind part.
Ah, okay. So yes, and then the xylophone. Right, so bum ba dum ba dum ba dum, that's the metronome. So why do you need to be in 4 there? Because you're not the metronome. They have one. They don't need you to be.
Right. I was actually trying to do I was in 4, I was trying to do an accent 1 and 3 kind of thing, because I was looking, that's a lot of just too much unnecessary movement.
I still think it's too much unnecessary movement.
Too much with the...
Yeah, if you want it to move forward, you have to make it feel like it's going forward, and the way to do that is not, it's 1, 2, 1.
That was the other debate with that, was because the 2-2 section is right after that, I wanted to make a clear difference between those two. So.
Do they need you to be in any sort of a subdivision in that 2-2?
Not quite, no.
Okay, you're doing 1.
Right.
You're going 1 and 2, and so essentially you're giving them 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Can you just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. No extra beat. There, well, you're still giving, do you see the backbeat, everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so just trust them. Trust them. Can we go from the Allegro, and then once you hit 5 after V, bum, 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 be in 2. And then the next time you should not be in 2 is the second to last bar.
Right.
Okay, let's try it.
Allegro section to the end.
feel to you, Matt?
Weird.
Ensemble, how was it for you?
Right. I think it's just the, I'm used to everything being right. So, I
What
do
you're,
have to work on that.
wait, sorry, say that again?
I just have to work on, like you said, trusting them for the time, because I would always think of the conductor as time, but it's not the case.
Correct, yeah, well, at least in my philosophy, which you're learning.
Right.
And I think it's the right one, but I'm biased. Okay, so the thing that's hard about what you're doing is you have to give up some control. And this is a comment for the ensemble, or for all of you as conductors. Anytime you jump to a pulse that's more macro, you have to give up control. You have to be willing to trust the ensemble. And they will occasionally, more often than not, will fail. And then you have to teach them how to maintain their own pulse. These guys, they can maintain their own pulse. High school, junior high kids cannot. You have to, that's what I do the most when I'm out in the schools. I talk about how to teach the ensemble pulse, and that's what you have to do as a teacher. So then when you go into this, it's not a big deal because they know what their role is. Yeah? Does that make sense? A couple other things. When you say weirdness, there is some weirdness in the flutes. They have no idea what weirdness. Note, pitch, dynamic, tone.
Right.
Can you just be more specific with whatever the weirdness is? You don't have to say you're like 20 cents sharp on this G sharp. If you can just say you're having some pitch weirdness in this measure, maybe on the third note. Can you just take a listen?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
I use a weirdness term as to not offend, but it should have been more specific.
Yeah, well you have to be specific. You can not offend by being gentle. I mean, you don't have to be like, flutes, your pitch sucks. You don't have to do that. That would offend.
Yeah.
But if you say, you know, you're doing something squirrely with the pitch, or the pitch is not quite right on beat 3, could you just make sure you take a look at that?
Okay.
So be really specific. I thought your pacing was really good. Ensemble, comments for Matt.
I thought you looked incredibly relaxed.
James.
On the same note, I thought when he's got an intense, you have a matching pace, it really is intensity to really conductive. I would agree about your stuff environment, but overall I really like this.
Yeah, I really liked right off the bat, and we were kind of slow out of the gate, and that wasn't satisfying, so you stopped us right away, made sure we were on track.
Was that something I did? I was going to ask you.
What?
The beginning when it was two. So I'm getting two different nods. Right now.
Yes, it was, but not in the way you're thinking.
Right.
This is what you did. You went 3, 4. There's not enough energy in that.
Okay.
To go da la 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 at forte. You have to give them boom. I mean, it has to be lots of energy out of the gate from you with the breath that you give them and the prep, not just. I mean, it was clear, but there wasn't enough space for them to breathe. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that feel like it makes sense? Woodwinson had to play that? Yeah? Okay, good. Overall, I thought you did really, really well, Matt. Good job. One quick thing. Last note, fermata. Was it too long or too short, everyone? It was a full whole note. Should be more than that. Okay, good job.